The end of Women's Month marked a beginning for the anti-gender-based violence movement in South Africa, with many universities across the country, some even internationally, taking to the streets in protest. MatieMedia spoke to some of the leaders of the movement on Stellenbosch University campus.
For me, it was very personal initially. I knew Uyinene quite well, and I struggled a lot hearing that she was missing and then hearing that she was raped. That was just kind of a catalyst for me because I've been on this campus for a while and I've heard these talks happen and I've heard them go nowhere. I've heard them be an uproar for a week and then die down, and it's not going to happen this time.
I mean, this has always been a pressing topic. This has always been a very, very pressing matter, not only in Stellenbosch, but in South Africa and the world as a whole.
Getting 2-3 buses on 2 days, going to Cape Town, students filling those buses, that is almost unheard of like Stellenbosch University students to take part in things on campus, especially because people literally had to choose between academics and going to protest against gender-based violence.
Right now, what I expect is that because there has been this uprising, because there has been this outcry, that at the very least, that we have these engagements. At the very least, people are educating themselves. At the very least, there are policies being implemented to make sure that these discourses are taking place. Even if you have to compel a residence, by all means, do so. By every and any means necessary, people need to know, and people need to be held responsible, and people need to take accountability.
Transparency and accountability on behalf of the university, and I think also just honest and open discourse, because there are a lot of echo chambers here and there are students who legitimately don't understand what the problem is still. And that is a problem. I think that is one of our biggest challenges here. All the structures don't talk to each other very well, and that has impeded a collective movement here, I think.
And I think that there's also a lot of lack of compassion from students, from management, from staff, certain members of staff, in the sense that people don't even have any kind of interest or desire to seek information, and that leads to the lack of education, the lack of knowledge to the issues that we are facing and issues relating to gender-based violence, and ignorance results in the unintended perpetuation of rape culture. And to some point, actually, I would dare say that it becomes then intended, because if you refuse to educate yourself, then that is the intended consequence, is that people are going to suffer as a result.
UCT and BITS are shutting down. We can't shut down. We can't put our bodies on the line. Private security will basically kill us.
I felt like Stellenbosch University was viewing the gender-based violence movement as Uyinene's death. It is just about Uyinene's death, and that's not true. When you are in a position of privilege, it's very difficult to understand what people are going through that aren't in that position. We almost have blinders on, and we're like, okay, I know this is going on, but it's not impacting me right now, so I'll deal with it when I have time to deal with it. Whereas at other universities, this is affecting all of us, and we need to deal with it right now because our lives are at stake. And it's the same realities here, but it's viewed differently.
Seeing is a little bit of traction in people in residences starting to address some issues. Like we've had response from Dagbreek, new incoming Haka, saying that they're putting structures in place, that they're making changes. And I think that's really important because it's been very easy at Stellenbosch not to touch or talk about the stuff that you don't want to. It's been quite easy to avoid the uncomfortable stuff. And I think that's something very important that we're trying to do, is compel residences and leadership structures to have an honest discourse about this.
For me, another victory within the movement is seeing, first of all, maintaining momentum. I think that's a victory in itself, because very quickly these movements lose momentum. And I think another big victory was just being able to have our voices heard by management 2 Fridays ago. What ended up happening was a lot of people got to be heard. It wasn't just the people standing at the front that could voice their opinions for everyone else. It was the crowd itself that could be heard, and I think that's a really big victory as well. I think a lot of people, victories are within you as an individual when you're a part of the movement, is you create these friendships with these amazing humans. And I think that is a huge victory to see I'm not the only person that cares about this. Look at all these people that are standing up for what I believe in.
I think that the students are more angry now. A lot of the students, and not that they were that their anger then should be invalidated by any means, no. But I think now, because it has happened so many times and it's died down so many times, that it's come to a point where we are no longer just patient. You know, we want to see results and we want to see them now. There are short-term goals that the university can attend to. There are then medium-term goals and there are long-term goals. And so there is a way for us to sustain longevity when it comes to, reducing gender-based violence. So, and now that we've handed over an official memorandum and there are structures that we are putting in place to, hold people accountable for the implementation of things that they promise us. So I think in that sense, I'm quite hopeful.
We need to keep pushing for what we deserve, not just for what we want, but what we deserve as humans. Because at the end of the day, we're fighting for human rights. And people forget that it is a human right to feel safe, and it is a human right to not be raped. It is a human right to be treated the same way that men are treated.